What exactly makes a good collectathon platformer? Is it the satisfaction of finding every last thing, or is it the tight, comfortable controls?
Mario 64 is a good example of a game that did both of these things well. As satisfying as hunting down each of the stars was the enjoyment of the tight controls, a formula that is just flat out fun. A newer title that is often compared to the 3D Mario platformers, most notably Mario 64, is the indie-developed gem A Hat in Time. This title is overflowing with charm. While the game itself is 100% child-friendly, much of the game's humor will appeal to adults as well. For example, at one point in your adventure, you'll sell your soul to a demon. The musical compositions and overall soundscape will warm your heart. And the game's protagonist, known simply as Hat Girl, is flat out adorable. Throughout the course of the game, you will obtain different hats that will grant you a new ability while you wear it. By finding pieces of yarn hidden throughout the stages, you will be able to create new hats to aid you in your adventure. Your main goal in A Hat in Time is to collect hourglass pieces.
The hourglass pieces work much like the power stars in Mario 64, and you will be using them in order to access new stages and progress through the game. Before we mention that controls are one of the fundamental pieces of any good 3D platformer, and this game hits the nail right on the head. The tight controls makes traversing the large stages a breeze. If you replace Hat Girl with Mario, you'd be convinced you were playing a lost Mario game. There were a couple moments in the game that I felt the camera was working against me, as I wasn't able to quite get it at an angle that really worked for what I needed it to do. Besides that, though, the game's controls really are amazing. You have this really good wall jump that feels like it's right out of the 3D Mario games. And there's also this homing attack that's just like the homing attack from the 3D Sonic the Hedgehog games. There are lots of gaps within the game that require you to do a combination of both a double jump and a mid-air dash, which will give platforming fans a run for their money. The variety of all the game's stages and characters keeps each segment of the game feeling fresh. In many other titles, I want to skip a lot of the game's dialogue to speed things along, but that wasn't the case here. I felt really engaged in the story and was excited to take part in many of the game's scenarios, and I feel like this is something lost in a lot of modern games. And that's what A Hat in Time does really well. Like on this stage, you have to race from train car to train car as part of filming a new action movie. In the Subcon Forest area, you get to explore a creepy house where you have to evade a dark, shadowy figure by sneaking around and hiding under furniture. There's all sorts of fun secrets and comedic gags to find here, which I absolutely loved. I really got a kick out of the Crow characters as they laugh about some of the personal information they obtained from you earlier on. The main hub of the game takes place on Hat Girl's ship, which works a lot like the castle in Mario 64. Many of the doors lead to new worlds to explore, which can be accessed by how many timepieces you've obtained. I felt as if the game's difficulty was at a satisfying level for this type of game. I liked having to really struggle learning and mastering some of the boss's patterns, but on the other hand, having the freedom of casually exploring the game's stages for yarn pieces and other collectibles. It really has a balance that's hard to obtain. So how do we rate A Hat in Time on the schmuck scale? We give it an 8 out of 10. What did you think of A Hat in Time? How do you think it stacks up against other 3D platformers? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe and become one with the Grand Falloon. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.